Yeah, life, death, marriage, time for a show.
Hello and welcome to the Part-Time Gamers, the gaming podcast for people with full-time lives. I'm Saranax, clocking in with my good friends 9 of 12
Yeah.
and that one weirdo.
Flash! Ah! He saved every one of us! He saved every one of us!
I don't know. Flash doesn't get enough appreciation, I think, maybe. I don't know. It depends on his depiction.
As a kid, it was really cool. And I actually met Sam Jones here at FanX. And that was like his first movie. And he's been in like a lot of like B-movie stuff. And he's mostly known for Flash. But he seems like a real cool guy. But he even said, while making that movie, I was ecstatic. But he goes, I knew the movie was going to catch a rash of shit.
Yeah.
He was like,
I
everybody
love it.
involved swang way above their weight class. And I'm like, hey, as long as we still remember it and I'm paying you $60 to doodle on a picture of you, I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty good metric. And this just
Yep.
my
Go Flash, go Flash.
ADHD kicking in. This reminded me of this video where someone was trying to like solve the problem of speedsters in movies. Because so often it's like they're either rendered completely irrelevant in some asinine way or they're just godlike. And he went through this whole thing like describing the different kinds of speedsters and stuff like that. Are they perpetually speedsters like Red Rush in Invincible, where their perception is always the same? They just perceive everything slow all the time. Are they like activated speedsters with like the Flash is depicted usually, Quicksilver, stuff like that, where they have to kind of like activate it to gain that perception? And the last one was just fast, where it's like Dash from Incredibles, where they're just fast. They don't really have any increased perception. They're just really fast. And that last one seems to be the least problematic. But it was this really interesting video, but that's what that reminded me of. And how like occasionally and it's not even like
Different.
it's like how they're portrayed. That's the issue. It's difficult to distinguish all of them anyway. That was a tangent.
I love breaking that down, especially as a DC fan. Like, even though the movie itself was actually good, but obviously there was a lot of issues and the fact that the Snyderverse was ending anyway. But DC itself, and they never really got into it in the movies, is how they break down the things he can do and why he can do them.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff is very much derivative of quantum physics or things in science where it's like, okay, if somebody was to run this fast and kind of alter their reality in such a way, this is what it would look like.
Okay, I would also like to mention right now that September's video is frozen on one of the most hilarious faces. So I just wanted to make note of that. We'll keep that for posterity. Yeah, I mean
that'll be the new artwork for the podcast.
That'll be my my placeholder image.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but it's like that. Oh, and there she goes.
Oh,
so we're going to change. Oh, and she's back.
Oh, maybe.
Hi.
Put back in the extension cord.
There we go.
That's fun.
I'm sorry, your video froze on like one of the funniest faces. I'm going to probably screen cap that and use that as a placeholder photo from now on, if just in case. But I forgot what I was going to mention.
We'll show this face.
Yeah. I mean, did I show you the one time I did the one of the solo streams I did. I had just happened to have an image of myself that I don't know how I can show this, but I had this image of myself from like 10 years ago referred to as Princess Rainbow Beard. Which is literally just me looking like really sternly with a sparkly tiara on my head from one of my daughters. Anyways, I was
Now that's a name
yeah.
for a podcast.
But yeah. Anyways,
My son texted me earlier. He bleached his hair and shaved it, and he said he looks like Eminem if he really liked McDonald's.
that's not inaccurate. I'm going to go that far.
You know, I've
That's-
never seen a picture of him, and yet that description, like, I can still I could render an image.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is very descriptive.
I'm looking forward to the more pics. Apparently, it was a deal. He was allowed to cut his hair. He wanted to buzz it.
Yeah,
If his girlfriend could dye it any way she wanted.
jeez, that can be.
So-
hazardous.
Oh,
I
see, there
think
you go.
It's
That's the
gonna
big
be
no-no. She took the reins.
purple with black hearts in it. Like,
Like you do.
we'll see.
That remind me of my I think it was my senior prom. I tried to bleach my hair. And I say tried because my hair is very dark and it was longer at that point. So it came out slightly orange in spots.
Orange.
Yeah. So my dad referred to me as Butterhead for the entire length of time I had that color in my hair until it grew out. So it's somewhere in the ether, I have senior pictures of me like half bleached hair, which was, looking back on it now, not my best moment, but at the time I thought it was fun. So
Fun
whatever.
to try. Yeah.
I did
All
it
right.
once. I looked very unique.
We can't see
Especially
your
back
video
then.
right now,
Like,
but
now, I
I'm
don't
sure
know
there
what
was
what that.
I'm sure there was air quotes during that.
Well, and especially like when I was a kid, when I was growing up, like I was super awkward, and then I was like, "Well, let me dye my hair so I'll be cool." And it's like, nope, you just knocked yourself further down the awkward chain.
Yeah, I have a newsflash for you. You're still a little awkward. Anyways,
I'm so glad.
but
Especially
here's
in a place like
the other
Utah where
spoiler alert.
everybody-
We all are. Anyways,
Well, no, that's great, except for Utah, where like half the people born here have like LDS barcodes. And sorry, I'm not trying to dip my pool in that or tip my toe in that pool.
Ugh.
But I love, it's funny how like everybody wanted to be radical to take on the squares. And now it's the squares where the radical side is like the normalcy. Because people here try to be so normal to a fault, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's like watching like Ken and Barbie dolls like attack you, and it's like no.
Many Stepfords. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh god. And I remember as a kid, the first time I saw not the remake but the original. Yeah, I was like 9, and it was like I probably shouldn't watch this, but I watched the Stepford Wives, and then I was like, oh, and then I watched the remake, and I was like, okay. But I got it more like years later, especially after moving here. I watched it, and I'm like, oh god. They should just change Provo's name to like Stepfordville.
No. All right. Before we get too far tangented off of the fact that we are a video game podcast, let's go ahead and get back to work.
Morning break is over. Morning break is over.
All right. So continuing our theme today of fishing games, quote unquote. We're going to be talking about another game that's pretty high on the list for especially this kind of genre. We're going to be talking about Dredge. Came out a couple of years ago, developed by Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. We've seen Team 17 a couple times in the games that we've talked about. They've done Worms. They've done a bunch of other games that they have a pretty good pedigree. I think actually Golf with Your Friends is Team 17 as well. They have a pretty good pedigree when it comes to the games that they publish, so that's a really good sign. $24.99 on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Android. I found out there's an Android version of this literally earlier today. And Windows and Mac via Steam. So basically available just about everywhere. It's really, really accessible. So according to their official description on Steam, Dredge is a single-player fishing adventure with a sinister undercurrent. Sell your catch, upgrade your boat, and dredge the depths of long buried secrets. Explore a mysterious archipelago and discover why some things are best left forgotten. So the first two games that we talked about on this topic, Catch and Cook and Dave the Diver, much more cheerful, much more colorful, much more lighthearted. This is Lovecraftian inspired. This is the closest thing you'll get to a horror game in this like fishing type genre. It is like when they're talking about like the sinister undercurrents, there's definitely things, mutations, there's sinister stuff. Like I said, Lovecraftian stuff going on this island chain. And it's apparent with like you occasionally will go out and you're fishing stuff and like you'll get an aberration of a fish, which is this like grotesque mutated version of whatever the normal fish is. And it's like,
it's got like a sanity meter, which is a common
yes,
Lovecraftian mechanic.
Yeah, which is we'll get into in a minute as well. But yeah, players control this fisherman who has just found this listing for a new fisherman in this archipelago, and when you go there, you're caught in a storm. Your ship is actually destroyed in the process. You crash on the rocks, and you're able to get to the dock, and they actually give you another ship. And you're able to pay it off pretty quickly, and that's
thankfully quickly, because I gotta say, right off the bat, I was like, "So I'm an indentured servant. This is the note we want to start on."
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by how quickly you're able to pay it off. I mean, it's only within like a couple days, in-game days, that you're just like, okay, that's all for that.
I was waiting for the trap.
Yeah,
and.
Yeah,
Don't worry, you can get out of debt.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad that that's not one of the main mechanics in the game. That would have been troublesome just for the concept
you
of it.
You really have enough to worry about.
Yeah, I mean there's quite a bit else to do in this.
Cthulhu and debt? No, can we not?
But yeah, so you're going around this archipelago fishing up fish, materials, valuables from the sea, and everything like that, and a couple of the like core mechanics that are important for this is there is a day-night cycle, which is important. Time only advances while you're moving or fishing. So like if you're in a dock talking to someone, time's not continuing. So you can go into the dock, sell your fish, go back out. It's only when you're moving or fishing that time advances. And there's the fishing locations are pretty well televised or whatnot. Not televised.
Telegraphed.
Yes, that one. There's thank you, I appreciate it. There's these
talk.
Yeah, there are these like splashes in the water. When you come up to them, they're called disturbed sea or whatever like that. And that's where your like fishing nodes basically are. And depending on like one thing that's I think really cool about this is a lot of times you're looking for specific things. You're looking for either specific fish or for debris or stuff like that. And a lot of times you can see the silhouette of whatever's in that disturbed water from above the water. So sometimes it's not super distinct, but if you have a good eye, you can catch like, okay, that looks like the fish I'm looking for. So I'll go and fish from this node and everything. Like I'm showing some video right now, and you can see like in this one area, it's clearly like some kind of larger fish or sharks and stuff like that. You know, you can see that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool for that aspect, because a lot of times you are looking for specific things. Specific kind of fish. That's one of the like progressions of this game, is that you're trying to progress what they call pursuits. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I thought it was interesting that quests, missions, like pursuits was kind of like unusual. I'm not used to seeing that for that mechanic.
Yeah, that terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's basically how you advance the story of this game, is by completing these pursuits. And those are basically complete it at your pace. You know, you find the things like, okay, these things aren't necessarily super time intensive. So it's basically you're able to complete them at your own pace for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, some people die if you don't do stuff quickly, but there'll be another one.
Yeah. But yeah, there's also like part of the progression is going through these different pursuits, but also there's a little bit of gatekeeping with, okay, there are different kinds of locations and different types of fish. So there's like oceanic fish, there's coastal fish, there's I think there's even like magma and ice and fish and stuff like that. And so you have to have certain equipment to get these different kinds of fish in these different locations. So that's part of the gatekeeping is you have to get the research points so you can unlock them, so you can upgrade your equipment, so you can install better equipment and all this stuff. So there's a little bit of that kind of gatekeeping, so you're not getting too overwhelmed with everything right away. But yeah, another thing, watching this video, they're showing a little bit of that sanity mechanic that we mentioned earlier. So kind of jumping a little bit ahead now that we're in this video, there's a sanity mechanic. Going out and fishing during the night is dangerous because you'll notice there's this little eyeball on the top of the screen that'll start going crazy. Like the more crazy it goes, the more insane you're going. And the more insane you're going, the more hallucinations you'll get. And you'll start encountering you'll encounter tentacles out in the ocean. There's a ship, quote unquote, a ship out there that from a distance, it looks like a ship. When it gets closer to you, you realize it's a giant anglerfish.
Big fish.
That is coming to destroy your ship.
Now, the thing with, they do a lot of it's dangerous to go out at night, it's dangerous to go out at night. But you have to go out at night. There's a lot of things you have to collect that are at night. And the going insane isn't just being out at night as much as it is not sleeping. Like
that
you
is
can
true
just
too.
go ahead and sleep during the day and get all that night stuff done without ending up completely insane.
Yeah, like you can.
The mechanic is balanced.
Yeah, because they do have you're required to go out during the night to catch certain kinds of fish like squids and stuff like that are only available during the night. But having your lights on helps. It reduces the rate that you get that insanity, and you can upgrade your lights. They can become more powerful lights and everything like that. Help reduce that. Sleeping eliminates that insanity. So that those two things are really important because
buy lights and buy fast engines.
Yeah,
seem to be some of the primary equipment.
Yeah, and like some of the hazards, like we mentioned a couple of the hazards, but like another one is rocks will just suddenly appear in front of you. And running into things actually is pretty significant in this game.
Oh yeah.
It'll damage your ship and will fish that you caught will get tossed overboard when you hit something. It'll damage your hull.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You can not just damage your ship, but damage specific parts of your inventory.
Yeah, it'll make certain parts of your inventory inaccessible. And if that part is in a section where normally your fishing rod is or your engine is, that will become inoperable until it's repaired.
It's funny, I saw your note and it's like, why do rocks suddenly appear?
So it
felt almost like Goodfellas. There was a few times where it's like during at one point it ain't there, and then it's there at night, of course, and you run into it, and it's almost like, who put this rock here? Huh?
Yeah.
Is this the place to put it? Who puts rocks here?
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm pretty sure they're rocks that aren't normally there in the daytime.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they just
like
kind of
hallucinatory rocks, but they have physical form because
Cthulhu.
Lovecraft. Hello, here's a loose rock. Hello.
So those are like the hazards of kind of going out at night and everything like that. But like you can repair your ship once you get back to dock. Once you're at dock, you're safe. You can go there, you can sleep, you can get rid of that insanity, you can repair your ship, although it does take time. You can install new equipment, so you can eventually you're going to be able to collect research points, like research packages or whatever, and be able to unlock newer equipment that'll allow you to fish a wider range of different locations, or engines that just can make you go faster. You can upgrade your ship itself, so you can say, I can equip more different or more of the different fishing rods, or you can equip more engines. Sometimes having just more engines is just as good as having one bigger engine.
And I
It
think,
just depends.
Crab pots
Yeah.
are a really big deal piece of equipment you want, because it's a passive, fishing thing, but it also is basically a way to put pins on a map.
Yeah, I can see that too.
It was a pro tip I was, watching videos about. It was a really good way to keep track of the map and the place you want to get back to, because some of the areas are a little, like the swampy one and stuff, are a little tricky to get around and remember your way around. And then dredging equipment. Dredging is a big deal, because it's not just fishing this game. It is getting all these materials to fulfill all these pursuits.
Yeah, because you'll need...
And the story is driven by stuff you find dredging.
Yeah. So there is before we continue on with that, one thing I wanted to get back to as well is for the actual fishing portion of the game. Like I said, you'll go to these different nodes. They're called disturbed water, or I think it's shapes in the deep or something like that, if it's equipment or materials and stuff like that. And depending on what you're fishing up, you'll get a different mini game. So, and there's I think including the DLCs, which believe there's 3 DLCs right now. The Pale Reach, the Iron Rig, and one other one I think just recently came out that I do not remember. But between all of those, there's like 6 different mini games for actually fishing. There's the radial one, which is one seems to be one of the most common earlier on. It gives you this circle, and you have to try hit in certain zones in that radius. Ball catcher, which is you have 2 balls and you're trying to catch them in one location. Diamond, it has a little circle that expands out and you have to try to get into the outer circle. Pendulum goes back and forth and you have to try to get into the zone. And then Dredge, which is exclusively for like materials and equipment and stuff like that. Things that are kind of like non-living things. It has 2 circle lanes, and there's blocks in each of those, and you have to try to go between the lanes to avoid those blocks. And I did actually find out earlier today that there is an accessibility setting. If you get too stressed out with the mini games, there is actually an accessibility setting that just automatically makes it succeed.
Yay!
So that can be helpful if you just want to, if you want to just
those of us bad at that shit.
Yeah. I mean, if you just want to focus on the story and the fishing and don't want to have to deal with the actual mini games for it, you can turn that on and just go from there. But yeah, those are different like mini games for the different things you can fish up, and each one of those, it's dependent on the kind of fish specifically. So like I saw this big list on the wiki. It's like, once you select them, it'll show us like, it uses the radial fishing method, or it'll use the pendulum fishing method and everything like that. So it's individual for each fish, which one it uses. I think for like everything inanimate, it's always Dredge. It's always the Dredge one. But
Blackstone Key, by the way, is the DLC.
Yes, that's right. But so that's the actual fishing, but there's also things are kind of trying to think of words. I'm just really tired right now.
Okay.
It's
I think you got to mention, you did put in the notes about the Tetrising, because
yes,
that's a really interesting different big mechanic in this game. It is really central to this game in a surprising way.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, what the hell is
Mhm.
this inventory weirdness? But it's clever. It's like its own little puzzle.
Yeah.
And it forces you to, okay, I know what fish I have to do and try to remember, like, okay, that one's an L shape, that one's this shape, because you have to be able to fit things into your inventory, not just X number of spaces.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really clever and creative and a good opportunity for them to make some neat art.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty clever as well. It's a very subtle thing that adds that little, just a little bit of complexity to the game without overwhelming complexity, I think. Oh, just
because we know in these games you're always going to get annoyed at not having enough inventory at some point.
Yeah.
But it creates an illusion of control over that,
Yeah.
right? Because you did it right, so you got more.
Yeah. And it's also a little bit of like self-balancing as well, where it's like, okay, these bigger fish that you can catch will sell for more, but they also take up more space, so you can't get as many of them. So like, it's like, okay, do I want to get a bunch of these smaller fish that I know I can fit more in my ship, or do I want to go for some of the bigger fish that I won't be able to fit as many in, but and it might be a little bit of, like I said, Tetrising to get them fitting in there properly, but they're going to be worth more, and it requires fewer resources to get. So it's a little bit of self-balancing like that, which I think is cool. And you can actually upgrade the size of your hold as well later on, so you can fit more of that in there. But
and you're managing your choices for, okay, I want to start driving the story more now, so I need these specific things rather than
yeah,
just money and upgrade equipment.
yeah. And one thing I do appreciate is with the different types of fish that you can catch, like oceanic or coastal or whatever, that they each require a different method of catching them, and you can switch those out. It takes time to do so, but you can switch those out. You can say, okay, I don't need my coastal fishing rod right now, so I'll put that out in storage, grab a different one. It's like, oh, now I need it back, so you can switch them back out and everything like that. It just takes a little bit of time at the shipwright to do that, but you have that option. So you can try to be more. You can either be more broad and pick rods that are just like, oh, this one has like 6 different types of fish you can catch, or you can be a little bit more specific, which usually have a little bit more speed and that kind of stuff to them. So that's all part of it, the kind of balancing to it as such. And but in regards to the story aspect of this, when you first start getting there, it's everything seems kind of just ordinary. Just unless you go out at night, then you start seeing, okay, there's some weird stuff going on. And then gradually, as you go on, there's just more and more and more just Lovecraftian stuff going on. Eventually, you get to meet this character named the Collector. Excuse me. And he's able to give your, like, almost enchant your ship with these weird, just kind of mystical abilities. That are definitely occult in nature. Like you find out eventually he has a book called the Book of the Deep. So we're going to get a little bit into the story. I want to mention the ending, because I think it's actually kind of awesome. So spoiler warnings for all of this. I mean, granted, the ending there's like a one decision thing that determines which ending you're going to get. But I think the ending is where everything kind of just culminates into this. So spoiler warning to everyone. At least in the base game, there are 2 different endings that you can get. Like the Collector has you go out and collect these artifacts, which you find out there's also these messages in a bottle that you can collect, which tell the story of this one woman, a woman and her new husband on their honeymoon and everything like that. That something happens, they end up supposedly dying, and the collector is sending you out to collect artifacts or like these relics, these items that were originally from her. And when you collect all of them, take them back to him, the ending of this is you can either choose to give the items to him, at which point he will take them out to the middle of the ocean, do some kind of ritual which resurrects her, but also releases Cthulhu, basically. This giant...
Of course it does.
Yeah, which presumably...
It's never a good idea.
Yeah, which presumably kills literally everyone. So you have that option. You also have the other option is you refuse to give the items to him, at which point you realize that the collector is actually a figment of your imagination and that you are the person, that you are the husband. So you go out into the ocean.
Oh, I didn't know that ending. That's wild.
Yeah.
Especially considering the messages in a bottle you keep getting left by the husband get more and more deranged.
Yeah. It's like they're left by the wife, actually, I think. The messages are left by the wife. And if you choose the other ending, you refuse to give him the items, you find out that you are the collector, that he's a figment of your imagination. I believe there's actually the sequence where he refuses to give the items. He punches at the collector and realizes that he's punching a mirror. And that the collector never actually existed, and that he's the one holding the book. So he goes out to the middle of the ocean, throws everything into the ocean, including the book and everything, and then his ship is promptly eaten by the Leviathan. So all in all, not a great day for the fishermen. But it's like, okay, do I want to sacrifice myself, or do I want to literally destroy everyone? That's really the question. But I thought those endings were kind of interesting, and it really is that like culmination of the Lovecraftian inspiration for the story. I've watched both endings.
Talk about the books either, though.
Oh yeah, I only remember
because that's a whole nother mechanic where you get books along the way, and you can set them passively to just be read.
Yeah.
So it's just as you're fishing and doing other stuff, but they give you benefits mechanically.
Yeah, they give you bonuses. It's been so long since I've watched a complete playthrough that I completely forgot about those. I was watching one earlier to kind of refresh myself, and they did start getting into the books. But yeah, they're given to you. You just equip them one at a time until it's fully read. And once they're fully read, they do give you some bonuses. Like I think the first one you get is you have a percentage chance of not reducing the fish pools when you fish from them, because you can only fish from the pools a certain number of times before it just comes up depleted. And that book makes it so that you have a percentage chance that it will not deplete it further.
And there's a lot of them. It's really worth making sure you get the books as you go, because there's stuff like engine speed and durability and resisting the panic mechanic and stuff like that. There's sell prices going up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is a
level perks for something that's easy to grab and passively set to.
Yeah,
finish.
but it definitely is a consideration, because it's like to remember. It's like, okay, I finished reading this book. I need to equip the next one, so I don't waste that travel time on a book that's already done. So yeah, that is a very valid point. All in all, this is still I don't think it has quite the complexity of Dave the Diver. Because for the most part, those mechanics just carry you through the majority of the game. It's just more like the advancement is less about adding mechanics and more about it's like, okay, we're going to a different zone, requires different equipment, that kind of progression. So I do think it is a little bit more straightforward than Dave the Diver. It's not constantly introducing new stuff. But it still has its own different complexities. It still has its own considerations because it's like, okay, I need to make sure that I have a powerful light because I need to go out at night to
And
get
it's
these
spooky.
fish. Yeah, it's definitely spooky.
I like the spooky.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely got that much darker tone. It's not going to be like jump scares or like, well, there occasionally might be jump scares where it's like, what is this bubbling underneath me? Oh, it's tentacles. So there's that kind of stuff. There are some boss fights and stuff like that, or like giant creatures that you have to contend with. It's just like the horrors of the deep type situation. So it's definitely much different tone than the other games we've talked about. Definitely on the darker side. Still really good. From what I was seeing, if you are a completionist, at least the base game's about 20 hours of gameplay for the completionists. If you're just trying to get through the story mode, just trying to kind of go through it as quickly as possible, you can get done about 10 hours. So it's not a super extensive game. It does give you a lot of off ramps for taking a break. And it's like, okay, you can go into the dock, call it a day. That's a good place to end for the, it's very part-time gamer friendly in that way.
Yeah, pro tip. Get to the docks are safe, like if you're being chased by creatures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you're more, they can't get you.
Yeah. So
Luring yourself to
Good,
reality.
once
I think
they're
that's
bad.
yeah. And like I said, it's like the first time you see the anglerfish, it's like it's surprising because again, when it's outside of the light, it just looks like another ship. Oh, and then once it gets closer, you see that it's like, oh, that's a giant fish that's going to try to eat me. So I love those little touches of like playing with the hallucinations. As like you always have to be on your toes when you're out at night, even with the light on and everything, because of the random rocks that show up, the different creatures that show up, and everything and all that.
Like, what's that over on the land? Oh, nope.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. A lot of nope.
This is a big crab thing. Bye.
Yeah, and just like looking at like there's.
It's also not very punishing. Like you can wreck your ship.
Yeah.
And it saves plenty and just puts you back there. There are times where you might even want to, so you can go back to where
yeah,
you know where you are again if you wandered far.
Well, yeah, just those little touches of just like that sinister nature. It's like you're out at night and you're going back to dock, and all of a sudden you just see this giant like glowing red column in the sky. And it's like, what is that? And it's like, that does not look good. I don't know if I want to deal with that yet. And eventually probably will. So it's a very well done game. Again, Team 17, they don't publish bad stuff. They're
and I want to give like full props to Black Salt, who developed this game. I watched a documentary by No Clip.
We can link that as well.
Yeah.
I got it.
On YouTube, and it was really nifty because it tells the story about how this game got made. And it was this woman, she was a software developer, and she knew some other, game developers, and she had enough money to like pay 2 people for a year and let's do this.
Yeah.
And let's make a game. And so, they're being interviewed about why they made certain decisions. They talk about the different games they were influenced by, and stuff they've seen similar stuff in and things they did differently. The games they love. I loved watching it, and it was really funny. The documentary is hosted by this guy dressed in a crazy fisherman costume, like on the beach in New Zealand, and they're from like New Zealand, and he's kind of steps in now and again to give another part of the narrative, and he's kind of going slowly insane. The way they tell it, he gets a little kookier, and so it was really enjoyable. And and I loved seeing the people that made this game talk about it, and then about how and if you are interested in developing games and want to know how this works from a small indie developer like that, and then getting someone to publish you like they did from Team 17, it's got those little insights. And I mean, they were happily amazed and surprised. I mean, they were okay, well, we're out of money, let's see how this goes. And they crushed their yearly goal the first day it dropped. So but they talk about changes they made after their beta run, based on user input. And it was interesting, fascinating, not super long or anything, but gave some really, it made me feel even better about this game.
Yeah, I'll have to end up watching that. I'm. It always kind of interests me seeing like the process of making the games and everything, because recently was it Local Thunk, who is the developer who makes Balatro, had this whole thing where it's like conception to release of like the creation of Balatro, and just how surprised, how amazed at how successful the game was. And like how much he had to sacrifice to try to get the game going and everything, because he was a single developer making this game. And it blew up. I still think Balatro is one of the big success stories of the last couple of years, just because of how much it blew up. It's a really good game too. But all right, I think we've covered just about everything I can think of for Dredge. Yeah. It's definitely
good game, good price, like $25. Yeah,
you're
gonna get your time out of it.
Yeah, especially once you start getting into the DLCs, they really do add a lot more gameplay elements to it. Like I've watched gameplay for the Iron Rig, and it's really interesting because you have this giant oil rig that's breaking up the surface underneath the water and releasing stuff that should not be released. And of course you have, corporate greed and all that jazz. So, yeah, but we do still have a little bit of time. I actually really do want to talk about this article too, but go ahead.
Definitely a fun one, real quick. Definitely a fun one. And one of those where, I mean, we all love, visuals, but also visuals that fit the context of the subject matter and the game itself. And it kind of gives it its own, you're kind of carried away by it in the sense of like, okay, you're immersed in the world even more so. And anytime anybody's like, hey, this is Lovecraft related, I'm like, all right, I'll get my toothbrush. Like I'm there. So for me, like I really enjoyed it. I will say they might want to work a little bit on some of the character names, because Hooded Figure's name is Hooded Figure. I was like, you're dealing with like Lovecraft stuff. You could be cooler.
Well, yeah, except it's
not officially licensed Lovecraft.
No,
all the stupid,
and it's not
like
relevant in that sense. That's true. I agree with that. But
way
it's
too
also
hard to
like,
pronounce Lovecraftian crap.
Yeah,
but they could have come up with something like Slurplakin.
Yeah, you keep track of all that lore.
That almost sounds Klingon, actually. But
it is like simple, low poly, like Dave the Diver in some ways, but then the art style goes to that sketchy with the surrealist like background, the horror bit. It's a really neat combo.
Yeah.
I get it with the names being generic.
Slurplakin sounds like having to go to the bathroom in Klingon. I got to make a Slurplakin. All right. Close the door, turn on the fan and the cloaking device.
Yeah.
I like the low, like I don't have to remember a bunch of names though.
Yeah. I mean, their names are pretty on the nose.
Every character has a name. I feel like I'm gonna have to remember it.
Yeah.
It's like, just tell me what their job is and I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure most of them are just their jobs, like the mayor, the fishmonger, the shipwright, the collector, and stuff like that. So it's like, I just think it's easier that way.
Does the couple even?
I think I vaguely recall someone being named JJ.
The fanatic.
Oh, anyway, I think the husband and wife have names, but I don't remember what they are. Oh, but anyways, definitely recommend this. Team 17 doesn't publish bad stuff in general. So that's a good indicator right there.
Yeah, thanks for picking it up, Team 17.
Yeah,
Good job, Black Salt.
indeed. All right.
So Theo was going to write you a nasty letter about the names. We'll work on that.
Nasty might be a
no,
little
maybe
bit
not
harsh.
nasty letter.
Yeah.
Just suggestions. They're not on the Ubisoft
Suggestion.
list just yet.
Never present a problem without a solution. We'll send them a list of names.
Okay. We'll go with something hardcore like Mike.
Yeah.
Fear Mike.
Yeah. All right. But
Dave.
before we round this show out, I do want to get into this article, so let's do a little bit of watercolor talk.
Okay.
You get that thing I sent you?
Oh, I made
So-
a Kersplaken.
Somehow I'm not
It's like
surprised.
a hula hoop. I brought it around. Woohoo!
All right. But like I said, I wanted to get into this article real quick. So one of the big things that's been going on with Baldur's Gate is, they've been continuing to do big patches. This is, I believe, supposed to be like one of their last big patches for the game before they continue on. It's patch 8. And there's an official release date for this. It's been held secret for a long time. The official release date for this patch is April 15th, which is really exciting for me because I have that day off because it's my birthday.
Yay!
And really excited about this patch because it releases, like, the big thing about this patch is each of the classes get new subclasses. And one of my favorite subclasses is one of these new ones, which is the Hexblade Warlock. Love the Hexblade Warlock. That's being introduced.
It's so big it needs a patch.
Yeah. So yeah, they're releasing this on April 15th. I will probably, at the very least, since I have the day off, start it up, get it downloaded, maybe start a new character.
Right.
And
I really got to play more. I launched it. I loaded it up recently. I was going to play. I haven't played in a long time. And I was just like, I have no idea what I'm doing or where I am.
the thing, like, the hardest part for me playing Baldur's Gate, like, I got into the third act, like, near the end in my first playthrough, but I was playing with a walkthrough because I'm not precious like that. I don't really care about discovery. I just want to accomplish stuff. And I occasionally get really stupid hangups on games that prevent me from finishing them. I never actually finished my first run of Baldur's Gate 3 because I realized I couldn't save Karlach. That was literally the only reason. It's like, technically you can save her by going to back to Averis with her and everything, and she'll live there, but otherwise she dies.
I get it.
And it's like,
I get it.
and I just didn't want, like, Karlach is one of my favorite characters in the entire game. I didn't want to see her die, so I just stopped playing.
I get it. It's funny.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that the other day because we were watching Wheel of Time. And, like, I had a feeling, I couldn't remember, I read the book so long ago when Loyal dies, but I remember Loyal dies and how mad I got. And I was, like, preparing myself for it. And, like, in Game of Thrones in the books, when I was reading them, and, like, it looked like Tyrion was dead. And Rob was remembering that, like, I almost threw the book, but it was my iPad and could barely stop myself. Like, I get it.
Yeah. So it's like, and this has happened on a couple different games where it's like, I get hung up on one random stupid thing, and I just don't finish because of that. But it's like, the thing that
You gave me a spoiler, so
oh, sorry.
fine. I love her too.
Well, that's the thing, is like, that's even
I
if
don't
you
get the
that
Lae'zel
far.
Bazel bullshit. Karlach's way better.
Yeah, Karlach is like, I don't understand why everyone loves Astarion. It's like, I never have him in my party.
stand him.
I
Seriously have a fop hat. I make him wear a fop hat. Little shit. He will
I mean,
always wear the damn fop hat.
I thank you. You're the only other person I know that does not like Astarion. And it's like everyone loves him, and it's like, why? He's terrible. Okay. Just to reiterate, though, the character, not the actor. The actor seems pretty awesome. The character, I cannot stand.
We'll see, and it speaks to his acting how much we can't stand the character.
Yeah, that is also true. And also, again, like Lae'zel, just like there's a section where you have to go into the machine to it's the Yanti, like it's supposed to. They think that it's supposed to get rid of the parasite, but it actually just like takes your memories and kills them. I purposely let her go into that first, hoping it would kill her. I cannot stand Lae'zel.
I get it, though. I get why people like her, because I know, because my husband, other than me, he has a type. And it's the I can fix her.
The best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yes,
There are memes about it that I can fix her with her face, and like that's the attraction.
Yeah, no, I don't want that. It's like Karlach is like, I love Karlach because she is just weird, like different sides of a spectrum. There are times when she is just giggly and lovely and adorable, and then she goes into murder mode and just like lays waste. She's got
her trauma and her tragedy, but she owns her shit.
Yeah. And it's
I respect that.
And then it's like, but like, I love that her like baseline personality is just silly. I love that. But anyway. So anyways, all that to say, I'm really looking forward to this patch coming out on Tuesday. And I will probably restart, make a new character, going into Hexblade Warlock, and go from there. And the other thing I need to really wrap my head around and kind of let go. That too, just to keep me honest, but it's like I need to let go of save scumming to get the best results, and like really treat this like a D&D campaign where it's like whatever the rolls are, that's what you got, that's what you got to roll with, and just let it go. It's just difficult for me to do that.
And you can stick with your Paragon stuff, and I'll be the Chaos Goblin, I promise.
Fine. I'm okay with that. Oh, all right. Anyways, yeah, just really excited about that. Anyways, where are my show notes? Where did they go? Why are they not in front of me? Okay, here we go. Anyways,
did you lose them while you were making extra flossing?
Well, it's like, why?
Oh, I'm not letting that one go. Hashtag Chris Blocken.
Okay. Anyways, everyone, thank you for joining us. So we're going to be taking next week off. I probably should have mentioned that to you guys before this, but we're going to be taking next week off. This week is going to be...
Well, if you insist.
I mean,
it's Sunday. It's Easter thing.
Oh,
you mean Easter?
That's what all that candy's about. Okay.
So, we're going to be, next Sunday is going to be Easter. So I got family stuff that's going to be going on. So I'm probably going to be a little bit busy. And this week is going to be a little bit busy for me as well because of birthday stuff and doctor's appointments and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be taking next week off. In 2 weeks, we're going to be coming back with a game that, this is actually the game that prompted me to make this whole thing. It's called Fish Fear Me. And the visuals, like I'm still, the jury's still out on this game. I still need to do a little bit more research on it, but I just think it looks hilarious, and it's supposed to be like a Vampire Survivors like. So, but with fishing. So we'll see how this goes. But we're going to be doing that in 2 weeks. But everyone, thank you for listening. If you like what you've heard and like to help us out, a few ways you can do that are by giving us a review over on Apple Podcasts. You can follow my Twitch and YouTube channels for our live recordings Sunday nights starting at 9:15 Eastern Time, or you can become one of our patrons. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord channel. You can find this show and links to everything around it, including everything I just mentioned, by using the link bit.ly/CI Productions. That'll take you to my website, caffeineinducedproductions.com. Ember, where can people find you around the internet?
Easiest thing is to go to 9of12.com. That's NINEOF12.com. You can find all my little projects there.
And Theo, where can people find you around the internet?
Firstblocking.com. No, just kidding. I got to get the site up. I haven't yet, but I just started a new podcast literally an hour and a half before this show called It's Terrible, So Please Listen, which kind of fits me perfectly. Like a lot of positive vibes there, as you can tell. Did my first episode. I'm pretty stoked. And I had to talk about the TV show that I don't just watch, I obsess over, which is probably not healthy, but yeah, don't tell me how to ruin my life. I'll do it just fine on my own. But people can check me out there.
All right. Everyone.
And Fish Fear Me is on sale for those of you that want to check it out.
Well, I mean, even if it's non-sale price, it's only like $10, I think, normally.
Right, it's $7.99 this week, though. So just thought I'd mention that now.
So, like I said, I still, like, at first glance, it seems pretty interesting. The visuals are, putting it delicately, atrocious. But the gameplay actually looks kind of cool.
Pretty weird.
Yeah. But we'll be talking about that again in 2 weeks. But everyone, until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers clocking out.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.